And now, again, Esther Maestro will be moderating the next session. So now we will be talking about open solutions for a sustainable future with Niall McCarthy, Director of Planet Crust and President of Corteza Project and Founder of Aire. So I'll leave you to it once you are both ready.
Well, Niall is Irish, so we're going to interview in English. Hi, everyone, again. We are here with Niall McCarthy. Valeria has introduced him. And Niall, Valeria has mentioned that you are CEO and founder of Aire, but also CEO of Planet Crust, who are the authors and maintainers of Corteza. What is Corteza and Aire, and how those two projects intertwined together?
Okay, thank you. And thank you for inviting me here. It's a great honor. So first and foremost, Corteza is a low-code platform for building what might be called records-based management systems. So think of patient management systems, customer relationship management systems, ERPs, etc. We've spent about 2 million on it over the last number of years, just building it. It is all in open source with an Apache 2.0 license. And where possible, and I stress where possible because sometimes it's not practical, it is also standards-based from top to toe. And what we've tried to do is actually take a look at technology that's used out there in the world. In particular, we had a look at the Salesforce cloud and the technology underpinning that, which is called Lightning. And that kind of inspired us a little bit as to what feature set might be, what build logic might be, what the user experience might be, and of course, what type of applications we might want to build at the end of the day, not just now, but also in the future.
Having said that, which kind of applications can we build with Aire? What are the applications? Is this for anything we can think of, or does it have any particular?
So first, I suppose, to explain the difference between Corteza and Aire.
Okay.
So we had a point of inflection about 18 months ago, and all of this AI stuff came. So Corteza itself, we build it like we would build a normal low-code platform where you drag and drop things, and you add blocks to a screen, and you add things to the blocks, and you build data models, etc. And then this AI thing came on, and we all looked and went, oh dear, what are we going to do?
The melon.
Yeah, precisely. And it was a bit like, okay, all of these LLMs are now claiming they can write code for you, and certainly they can generate some simple scripts. And within 3 to 5 years, they will probably be able to build relatively complex applications for you. So we took a step back and we said, okay, if that's the case, then that's all well and good, but do we all want LLMs delivering us complex applications? And we said, actually, maybe not. Maybe there's a case to be made for having a platform that you can scrutinize beforehand, that you can security test beforehand, that you know is written according to all the right standards beforehand, that potentially you yourself could contribute some features, functionality to that platform. So we decided that we would use an LLM just as a proof of concept originally, to see whether we could get it giving us information, giving us data, predicting what we might want next in a system. And that usually starts with data models. And you could imagine a data model for a patient management system, which might start with the patient, the healthcare providers, the health insurance, etc. And pick through, what will be next if I'm building an app? What language would I use next? What's the probability? Bearing in mind that LLMs are probability engines. So what we've done is to say, all right, Now, give me the sort of modules I would like in there, and that populates the different modules, such as the doctors, the nurses, the healthcare providers, the next of kins, etc. All of these things go into patient management systems. And then we go into each module and we say, all right, what information do we need to know about the patient? Obviously, their name, their address, the symptoms of the problems they might have, etc.
I think we're playing a video how it works.
You are playing a video,
very
yes.
quickly.
Okay. This is for wearable active lighting technology management, which obviously has nothing to do with government whatsoever, nor patients. But you see what's happening up there, which is basically it is adding on new terminology into different modules as it goes. And this whole process, if we shorten it, we can do the whole process from start to finish for any particular domain we wish to go into. Within 10 to 15 minutes, you have a fully functioning application, which in turn also has all of the various security mechanisms you would like to see. It has all of the API capabilities you would probably like to see. So every single field you saw created up there is API-centric. So we can connect this where we wish to connect it. You can see all of the code in advance. You can security test all of the code in advance.
So if I don't write code, can I ask Aire to do like a standard application? Can I use it even if I don't know how to write code?
Correct. The simple idea here is that we are citizens. We can now use and engage an LLM to build the language that we need in order to actually deliver the application. Be very clear here, we are not getting the AI to build the application. We are getting the AI to engage in your expert domain, give the language that you actually use for each module, for each section that you want to build in your application, and after that we're doing the rest programmatically. The result is that we can take, thank you very much. I wasn't sure, shall I just stick it in the beard?
An applause for Samu, who's helping us a lot today. Thank you. Go on, sorry.
I can't remember where I stopped.
So you think we can still use AI but be independent?
Yeah. Okay. That's a particularly good question. I must admit, when we started building this, I went, oh, okay, we can just use the language and then give you this completely operationally sovereign platform. What we're doing is using the AI to help us build a configuration file. Give us the language, and then we go build a configuration file around that. You then take that configuration file away and we install it into Corteza, and that's pretty much how the process works. I think this thing's going to fall off. I'm going to tuck it over the year and see what happens.
That's
Okay.
better.
That's better, yes. So we're attempting to get it to us to a place where you are completely operationally sovereign afterwards. You take your entire platform away with you. You never have to connect it to the AI again. On top of that, it is all completely configurable on its own to a much greater extent to what we allow the AI do. So we don't, for example, tell the AI or allow the AI to suggest the permissions that go in the system. You actually take that away and do it yourself. We do not get the AI to configure the APIs at the moment, etc., etc.
That's something that we have to...
Does that mean we're completely independent? I don't know. I actually grabbed Melanie before all this started, but unfortunately it stopped before I had the chance to ask her the question, which is, if we know data models, are we completely independent? If the LLM knows a data model, and does that make us completely independent? It's a good question. I don't have a real answer that I'm convinced it does or it doesn't yet.
Great. And what about regulations? Because maybe I want to build an app, but I don't know for certain the regulations behind it, how that matches with Aire and with the AI.
So for a start, we somewhat sidestepped the question. And it's not us being particularly clever. We give you all the code. It's all open source. You own it, you control it. If you have regulations that you must hit, then so be it. Some regulations specify you have to use specific language, but that specific language is already in the public domain. An experiment I ran a little bit earlier was on GovStack specifications, which I don't think are regulations, but we were able to pick out disaster management, pandemic management, and just pointed at the specification, and it built an app around it. So we can build apps that respect the applications to the regulations to the extent to which those are published. But afterwards, it's not just about that. It's about where you host it. It's about the qualifications of the people using the application, etc. So I don't think it's not a silver bullet for anybody looking to nail regulations down. That's for sure.
Okay, so they are not like quick enough, no, for the development.
I think someone said it earlier that there's no. Ultimately, yes, we can make a build process faster, but there's no way to get around doing things properly. So I would strongly recommend anybody who's going to implement a regulation to look at the regulation first, and not just implement it what we have.
Just in case.
Yeah.
If someone from the public has any questions, yes, pop this one over there. I knew there were going to be questions.
Thank you for the nice interview. I wonder, I don't know if you can share with us, because you're a company, any failures that you have noticed that you can share, obviously. And also because these systems, obviously, these systems don't know about rules, so you may have, let's say, developing a database and you have certain restrictions for the database, and because the systems are probabilistics, they still have the possibility of generating things that are completely not aware of the underlying specifications. So I wonder if you could, I don't know if it is possible, or you have noticed any very severe problems with using this technology in your case.
You're talking specifically with respect to the LLMs and using them to, yeah, okay. Yeah, I can give you a big long list if you wish, but we'll stick to some highlights. I think the main problem is consistency. My experience of LLMs is, despite everything that we're told and the use of the word artificial and intelligence in there, I would stick with the artificial bit far more than I'd stick with the intelligent bit. This is a probability engine. It is to a certain extent gamified, because every time I go there it'll respond, oh certainly, I'll give you an answer to that, and that could be completely misleading. So we've had to put a lot of guardrails in, to the point where we've actually got to, each time we do a prompt, there's 80 or 90 prompts. So what you saw up there is a radically accelerated version of what happens. It takes about 15 minutes to do all of that, and there's 80 or 90 prompts in there where we get stuff, we refactor it, we take a look at what it's given us, and sometimes it gives us crazy things that are dropped in the middle of something which purports to be intelligent. So, it's a probability engine, and the probability of it getting something wrong is relatively high, and if you accept that, then you understand that, it's basically gamified. And accept as well in terms of how that's interacting with your mind, which is you're sitting there going, ooh, it took me that way. And you're very excited about that, but that's not what you started at. So we've actually, the whole process you saw up there is the whole thing run together. We do a thing we called Instant App, and it just does everything together. But we've actually disaggregated it for more serious people, so that you can pick through each section and look at the language it's giving you rather than getting the whole thing. So that would be number one problem. Number two problem, I think number one is good enough at the moment.
So that's okay. We have still time for one more question. Anyone else? No? So where is Aire headed? Where do you think it's headed right now? What's the status now?
So right now it's in late alpha. It's been in late alpha for about 4 weeks, so we can't get it out of late alpha yet because of said consistency issues. That we know what they are. They're known knowns at this stage. But where's it going next? We want to take it to many different places. We want to show people that there's a lot you can achieve with this. We can go to government departments and pick out every sub-department, ask them what it is they're managing in there, and tell them how to use this, and they're building applications, and they can take them away and be 100% operationally sovereign afterwards. They do not have to put it back into the AI. They do not have to rebuild it again. They can maintain it separately. So that's one big thing. Other things we want to look at are use cases that scale. But use cases that scale in economic areas that don't necessarily have the money to do it, that they might have had beforehand. Corteza was originally built, literally, and we all had a good giggle when we did this, it was literally built as a digital platform for humanity. It was all given away on that basis. So we are now in a place where everybody can have this. We try to make it as simple as possible to install.
Sounds amazing.
You can't please everybody, but we try our best to do that, and we try our best to stick to all the standards. So doing things more quickly, by all means, doing things more accurately, and doing things at an absolutely tiny cost that we would previously have had to pay tens of thousands, if not more, for.
Of course. Well, we invite everyone to test it and prove it.
Please.
And thank you so much, Niall, for your intervention. Sorry for the difficult questions. We promise you a drink afterwards.
I'll gladly accept. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.